Hello, everyone, and welcome to our discussion on diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the areas of quality and business process improvement, organizations use methodologies such as Six Sigma to achieve operational excellence. Traditional Six Sigma relies heavily on quantitative, data-driven technical tools. These problem-solving tools include cause and effect diagrams, flowcharts, and statistical quality control tools. In Six Sigma programs, the use of these technical tools are integrated throughout the entire organization system, resulting in increased efficiencies and profitability. Similar to unconventional leadership approaches, leaders can take a different approach to use a Six Sigma tool called DMAIC. DMAIC is an acronym for define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And we will walk through each one of these steps using an example shortly. With this approach, organizations can create cross-functional teams to identify, resolve, and improve operational processes. In translating this approach to a diversity, equity, and inclusion program, also referred to as DEI, once leaders create a diversity and inclusion team, organizations could hire a DEI consultant to come in to educate the leaders and project teams of this program. Also, in discussing the current state of the organization's DEI processes, the consultant could identify the organization's maturity compared to others within the organization's respective industry based on similar demographics and characteristics. To implement a successful DEI program, a pre-DMAIC step in the kickoff of the DMAIC project, the leaders of the organization would introduce this DEI project during an all-hands company meeting and would address the following questions. First, they would answer the question of where is the company going? And the company is going to a more inclusive work environment. Next, how will the company get there? And they're going to create this environment with each and every employee of the organization. Third, what is the role of each employee within the initiative? And the role of each employee would to provide input as to what they feel are critical to the success of creating an inclusive work environment. And finally, how will each person of the workforce positively be impacted by this new initiative? And this would be done by creating an environment that welcomes everyone from regardless of experience, regardless of background, to create an inclusive environment, to create a welcoming environment, which in turn is going to harness ideas, harness innovation, harness inclusivity, okay? So this approach also provides transparency to the project and also allows leadership buy-in and commitments to the project. Once leaders of the organization have officially kicked off the project, the diversity and inclusion team could begin the DMAIC exercise by taking the following steps. So first, within the DMAIC approach, we have the define step. And within this example, within the define step, the diversity and inclusion team would identify the goals and objectives of the DEI program for the organization. And the project team would then validate the current state of the organization's DEI processes and procedures outlined within the consultant's education session. From that education session, the goals, objectives, and current state processes should not be limited to the project team, the leadership, and that specific location, but the DEI team should also issue a survey for each individual through each site of the organization's network. Next, with the measure phase, once the team receives the survey responses from all employees from all sites, the project team would then measure the responses based on the current state processes and map out any kind of gaps or discrepancies based on the education sessions with the DEI consultant. Next, with the analyze phase, during this data analysis step, the diversity and inclusion team would then identify common themes from the current state identification to create a future state strategy. So this could also be referred to as future state visioning. Okay, and this future state visioning needs to be aligned with the goals and objectives of the organization's vision. And if there are any adjustments that need to be made, those adjustments are made within this step. Next, within the improve phase, once we have created that future state vision, the project team would collaborate through brainstorming sessions to implement approaches to address and implement these future state processes identified by each site and each individual of the organization. Also during this step, the leadership team will continue to communicate the status of this initiative to ensure the workforce understands the changes that are going on enterprise-wide. And finally, the most important step is the control step. And although many organizations believe that a project is complete once the processes are in place within the improve step, organizations should create established checkpoints so that the project team continuously monitors and discusses the newly adopted processes and make adjustments based on peer feedback and observations. At the heart of Six Sigma is the goal to achieve continuous improvement. And in transferring this philosophy to a DEI program, the project team would periodically meet to identify areas for improvement with each location within the organization. Okay, so once we continuously identify areas for improvement, this again leads to innovative ideas. This leads to knowledge sharing that will lead to positive impacts throughout the organization. Okay, so as previously stated, although the Six Sigma DEMAIC approach is a process and performance improvement tool, creating this inventive process will create an inclusive work environment, paving a way for the new DEI initiative. Through the adoption of tools such as the DEMAIC approach for non-performance related projects, organizations could use unconventional ways to increase the participation and inclusion of the workforce that will harness creative ideas and innovation. Thank you.